Okay, welcome everybody to the referral challenge, excuse me, Q&A mastermind call for Friday, September 22nd. Just a couple of updates and we'll get right to it. For those of you who did a review for us on the Facebook page, we've got, I think last I looked, it was up to 38, and just, again, really, really grateful for that. Tremendous stuff. Very much appreciated. And your goodies are coming, but we had a little hiccup. Just so you know, the letter from Aaron and me is done, and that's printed out. I got all of them folded and then stapled, ready to go here. And we got your little goodie right here. I'm not going to show you the cover because it would give away what you're getting, which is very special. But we got everything ready to go. The only glitch is I got to get addresses. I have addresses for half of you, don't have them for some of you. So I'm going to have to reach out to those of you who I don't have addresses for and get your address. And so we can get this stuff in the mail to you because, again, want you to have this, and it's just great, and we're very, very appreciative of your support and feedback. The other thing, two other things that are sort of go, well, two other things. First thing is, this is my new mantra right here. I don't know if you can read this. I'll read you what it is, but I just wrote it down. It says 80%. It says let go of the ego and ship. And this is, the whole thing, this is something I've struggled with my entire career. And I know many of you guys struggle with it as well. And that is this need to get things as close to perfect as you can before you roll out. And I understand that. I am so anal retentive. I am so detail oriented. And I'm like, man, if this is going to represent me and Aaron and our business, I want it to be just as damn good as it can be. And there's the good side of that is that we put out really good stuff. The bad side of it is it slows us way down. And so you got to find a balance. And I know Camelia's been coaching me on this for years. And she's finally getting fed up and smacking me around. She's like, you need to get with it, Ruth. And so I'm at the point now where this is my new motto. I'm not trying to do 100% anymore. I'm trying to do 80%. I want it to be the best damn 80% I can do, but I want to get things shipped because the shipping just means deliver. Get your stuff out there because it's all about momentum and speed, really, in this in business, in this game. We got to be faster. Aaron and me got to be faster, and some of you got to be faster too. Chris is a perfect example of what speed does over the last 6-8 weeks. Just his speed of implementation has been tremendous, and he's gotten great results because of it. And I've seen that in action. I've done it many times. During the MPE years, it was just constant crush of just getting stuff out, and it was draining, but it works. It works really well. So anyway, long story short, it's that whole thing. Pat Rigsby talks about it a lot. Perfection is the enemy of done. There was a lot of different ways to say it, but the bottom line is I think we all need to focus on being faster, starting with me. So that's number one. The second thing is I want to recommend a book that I have not even read yet. And I never do that, but I'm going to do it this time because it came to me very, very highly recommended. And this is another thing, just to be completely transparent, that I struggle with personally, and I don't know why. I've talked to people about this. I don't really understand why, but there's a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and it's essentially about how we sort of create our own ceiling. We put a ceiling over ourselves for whatever reason, and when you bump up against that ceiling, when you're about to break through, you find ways to sort of self-sabotage and pull yourself back. And I see that. I've seen it in my own behavior over the years, and I don't like it, and I don't understand why I do it, but I definitely do it, and I know a lot of people do that. And so if you feel like you have issues like that, I would encourage you to look at this book. I just ordered it today. I'm looking forward to reading it again. It came very highly recommended from somebody I have a great deal of respect for. The name, again, is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, if you're interested. Okay, that's all I've got. Aaron, you got any updates?
No, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Then what we're going to do real quick, you guys, is Mike is on the call, and he is, as we've talked about before on this call, about to put out a product that will help you with your administrative, it's an administrative product, staff product, very, very cool what he's got. and he's created just a rough sales letter, and he asked for some feedback on it. And so we're just going to do this quick. We're going to take a look at what Mike's got, and Aaron and I are going to give some feedback. And if you guys have some input you'd like to give feedback to Mike about as well, absolutely love to hear it. And like I said, it won't take too long, but I think this will be instructive for everybody just to see how we do this. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And here's Mike's letter. Aaron, did you get a chance to look at this? And if so, do you want to go first, or do you want me to start it off? What do you want to do?
I briefly looked at it. I just did what I could to print it off. And first of all, Mike, bud, you got real good bones on this thing. I think you're reaching right down to the pit of where people live. So that's a big issue. And much of copy isn't what you say, it's how you say it. And so Dan Kennedy will tell you that copy oftentimes is a matter of rearranging words. So what I would personally do is I would immediately shift some of this copy around and just better organize this flow. But from there, my biggest takeaway is, you know, being that this is a fitness administrative project for bringing on an administrative assistant, the name concerns me a little bit, the wow factor, and I know exactly where you're coming from because you've got underneath your video how you wow your prospects. But I'm not in love with the name. And right here, right? And this right here probably is going back to the shifting. I'd probably shift this right back up to the top, right? This goes above the video for me, okay? And so based on what you've got here in your bullet points above the video, you've got 10 problems that you're solving. And so I would create a name around these 10 problems, personally, a title or something that solves these 10 problems. And I'm just playing with like a little bit of a headline here, solving the top 10 most urgent problems your admin faces, or something like that. And that's very rough, but it gets right to the core of what you're trying to solve. And that's pretty much what I got, Eric.
Awesome. That's great stuff. And it parallels almost exactly what I was going to say, with the exception of the name, which was an idea that I presented to Mike. And so, yeah, but that's the way it is. You get, you get 5 copywriters in a room. They're not all going to agree on the best course of action. And what you described, I don't disagree with anything you just said. Now, I think if you're going to stick with the name, I think there are ways to work with it, and it's just like what Aaron was saying. It's just rearranging stuff here and then fleshing some of the things out. Obviously, that needs to be done. And so what I would look at doing is this right here. I would probably take this bit of copy and use it as my headline, but I'd change it to simplify, streamline, and automate all those tedious tasks that are so critically important to your fitness business. That might be either my headline or my pre-headline up here.
Before wow factor?
Say again?
Before wow factor or right after wow factor?
Before wow factor. Because see, here's the thing about, even if you use this name, which is fine if you do, if the name of your product, just like the name of your business, is rarely ever going to be the headline for your ad. It can be descriptive, but it's not going to, it generally doesn't convey enough benefit or enough problem or enough curiosity to qualify as a headline. So this is headline space, and I would not put this here. What you could do, a simple quick fix, is this: done for you administrative command and control center, ready to plug into your fitness business. Boom, that's your headline. And then you go, I would do something like this: done for you to administrative command and control center, ready to plug into your fitness business, to solve problems, to solve these tedious tasks, or to solve these major fitness business problems or something. And then
kind of combine it with the piece below.
Yeah, the bullet point copy. But what Aaron said, I completely agree with. Where this name goes, wow factor, this needs to be right behind it, because this explains what wow factor is. That explains the name. So it needs to be right. They need to be right next to each other. So I'd look at moving a little bit more up to the top here. And again, if you don't want to, change the product name, I would just consider using either this as the headline and just change the verb to simplify, streamline, and automate. Using that as the headline, and then going right into wow factor, and then
right below. So if I did that, wow factor, simplify, streamline, and automate all those tedious tasks, and I put that at the top as the pre-headline, and then it was wow factor. Underneath wow factor, I would put the right
this,
here. You're highlighting
that right there. Yep. And then
what about the done for you piece?
Yeah, done for you. Process and procedures, to solve these problems. So this is good because you want to have people see that. That's eye-catching. Eyes attracted to bullet point copy. People are going to see that. It's immediately going to they're going to recognize, tracking client, I got a problem with that, paying bills, answering phones. These are issues that will at least get their attention and draw them in, and that's what we're trying to do. In the top half, above the fold on a sales letter, job number 1 is attention. You got to get their attention, and then interest, of course. Attention and interest, that's the process. So you get the attention and the interest there that way. So I think it's just a couple quick little fixes. The other comments I'd have is don't use these stock photos. If you don't need it, number 1, but if you wanted to use a picture, make it a picture of you, like pulling on however short your hair is, or just doing something crazy funny. And this picture, your real admin, if you want to do it. But again, you don't even need those pictures.
So I can just have her pull those out. Yeah,
you can have her pull those out. Aaron, anything else jumping up?
No, just the human brain loves numbers. It wraps its head around it, and 10 is one of the hot numbers. You've got 10 items there. Scroll down just a little bit, if you don't mind, Eric, to the, right here. So simplifies, streamlines, and automates these 10 tedious tasks, right? Might be something I would do.
Yeah, great. And in fact, as much as I like you're right about the number 10, if you can build that, if there's actually more than 10, there's like 21.
Probably. I have to go back and check them all to get the exact number, but I believe it is more than 10.
Then I would go with specificity, because the great thing about, if you've got 17 problems, let's say, that's even more specific, and therefore can be a little bit more compelling. So these 17 core problems that cause you to tear your hair out, or something along those lines. I'm being a little dramatic, but you get the point. So just some rearranging, some flipping. Are you clear, or do you need additional stuff, Mike?
No, I think so. I think this is good too, because I can, when you post the video later on too, I can be messing with it too, so I can give the feedback to Angela so I can, because it was hard for me to write it down while you guys are saying it, because it's hard for me to do that. But what I'll do is go back and play the video later once you post it, and then I'll be able to work with the actual info and change it around to send it to her.
Yeah, great. And then just have her do a quick change and send it back over. We'll take a look and give you a final thumbs up. Any of you guys
push the video down a little bit further than you're saying too, right?
Yeah, it would push the video down a little bit, but that's okay. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Not a problem. You guys, as potential customers of this, do you see anything that you would recommend that you'd like to see changed or addressed or modified in some way? No? Okay, cool. All right, so I think we got it. That's a pretty good switch. And as Aaron said, you got good bones on this. It's going to need a little bit more fleshing out, a little bit of adjustment at the top, the lead copy, and then you're good to go. You definitely need to have the about you stuff in here that we talked about.
The about me stuff, would you put that towards the top or towards the
No, it doesn't need to be at the top. I mean, it doesn't. What I would do, honestly, and I think Aaron would probably do the same thing with this if I was writing it, is I'd write it as a story, because you got a great story to tell. And it's, and you get into it right down here. That's when I began documenting everything I did, from how I answered the phone to how I logged in. It wasn't long before I discovered. And so I'd probably tell a story, but you don't need to get into that right now. You've got some story elements in it, which is good. So let's see, we wasted hours. It was extremely frustrating. I freed up my time. Okay, so you're about to go into the product description here.
Those videos will be combined into one video now.
Yeah, okay. So you could, I'd go right into product description, and then underneath product description, do something, like, hey, who am I and why should you pay attention? Or who am I and why should you care? Why should you listen to me? That kind of thing.
And then go into the story.
Well, then you've already done some of the storytelling here, so don't repeat yourself. But if you want to combine those two areas,
I thought you were saying to put the about me above this part here. I knew I had to create a system.
No, because you're already into you've pulled them in with the problem and the solution, and I would just continue along those lines, and then down here you're about to talk more about the product itself, what they get. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd go ahead with that. And then underneath that, actually, I'd probably just do it. Aaron, what do you think? Probably just go through with the whole sales process, and then sort of not as a PS, but underneath, about Mike Fernandez, that type of thing? Or how would you do it?
That's going to be a video right there. Right where it says check it out, I think that's where she's going to put the video. That's why she has the video placeholder there.
Okay.
I'm putting the demo video.
The demo video.
Yeah, the demo video of me like walking through how it really works.
Okay, so this is the story video then?
Yeah, but they're going to be combined into one video. So it's going to start with a little intro, the one that the one I had sent you with the PowerPoint, really, with me in there talking about it, and then that's going to actually be in the same exact video as the demo. It's going to go, now let me show you a little bit about this, and it's going to go into the demo.
Okay, so this video won't be up here.
Right, there's only going to be one video. So it's going to be the product info. Right now, she has the old info video that I had created, and she has a placeholder for the demo video, but then had recommended that it was put together into one short video. So the video is about probably 4 minutes long. It's a little intro, and then also the demo together. It's going to transition into the demo. So I'm going to say a little bit about it, and why I created the problem, why I created it, and it's going to go right into the demo.
Yeah.
So, Eric, can I share my screen real quick?
Yep, go for it.
So,
hold on, I got to stop this share. All right.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so Mike, this is a sales page that I just completed for a lady that has a faith-based nutrition thing. I created the logo for her. I created her name for her. Ultimately, FEAST stands for food, exercise, and food, Lord, what is it? Faith, food, exercise, and spiritual transformation. All right. So just to kind of walk you through how we introduced her, right? For every woman who secretly believes you'll never look or feel better than you today, I have a message of hope for you straight from the Bible. 3 things: you feel alone, conflicting information, and you can't keep off the weight, right? And if any of this resonates with you, then here's her video. Now, this is wrong, all right? And I've told her this is wrong. She should not have the prize here, right? But because she was sending people from a webinar to this page, I was like, that's fine. You can leave it there for now. But as it goes evergreen, you got to remove that price, right? But here it is, right? Just finished another busy day of personal calls with women seeking my help, and I feel the need to share with you what's on my heart before we're heading home, all right? So we're having a very personal conversation. I believe this will be the most inspiring, helpful, and important message God has ever brought into your life, right? And so my name is Christina, and from what some people call a faithitarian. And so you can see how we've brought her in. I'm the founder of. You may have seen me in a few articles, right? You may have also heard me on this station, or on this station, or on this station, right? You see how I've brought in her credibility in the story, right? But none of this matters right now, right? So what we've done is created for her an authority positioning, but then quickly transitioning. But this doesn't really matter, right? What does matter is what I feel the Lord had me to share with you, right? And so that's all I'm going to share with you at this point. But that was how we brought in the story, introduced her in terms of her credibility and why people should listen to her, and then transition immediately into the pitch, right? So just think of those lines
yeah. So what I would recommend to you, this is what you just saw with Aaron stuff. That's A level, and that's where you want to be.
I said that looks good.
Yeah, that's where you want to be. But what you need right now is speed. And so I would, if you, unless you want to get somebody like Aaron, I wouldn't get somebody like him. I get Aaron to write it. Then what I would recommend you do is just simplify the process by maybe doing a call out box somewhere in there about, who is Mike Fernandez, that kind of thing, or you can build it into the copy somewhere. But the way your flow is going right now, I would just continue with selling the product and then doing the credibility bit beneath that. Okay? Because it's not going to be a super long sales letter anyway. People will see it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, good. Then let's get into our regularly scheduled stuff. All right, Wayne, let's start with you, brother. Let us know how things are going with you and any issues that we can help you with.
Everything's going really good. I just looked at the video from last week. That was a great call you had, the superhero thing. Keith asked the question I saw about having to maybe possibly shorten it so we could do it before Christmas.
Yeah.
Consider doing?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, and I think that's certainly a possibility. You could, I mean, if you're going to do it now, then yeah, you definitely need to take those holidays into consideration. But I really liked your idea about doing it in the new year. Maybe maybe you just keep it simple between now and the holidays. I don't know. It's your call. I don't think the superhero stuff is too difficult, but you particularly have a system that's been working real well for you with your challenges that you're doing, and I just wouldn't want to interrupt that right now because it's already challenging enough to market during this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Eric, we got a bit of an echo here. Does anybody else hear that?
Do you hear it now? It's Wayne. It's something in the Carolinas, man.
Does that help?
Oh yeah. That solved it. Perfect.
Okay, good. All right. I have the video done for the SmartStart. I did it by the script. The question that I have is that it mentions a $10 charity workout, and Aaron and I both do free days. People can try us out for 3 free days. So I'm concerned. I don't know if you guys have talked about this or not just missed it, but I'm concerned about how I set that apart from our 3 free days that we let somebody try us out for the first time compared to come visit us and pay $10 for a charity workout.
It's a good question.
It's really 2 separate things, though, isn't it, Wayne? I mean, one is clearly for a charity event, and so you're doing a charity run. The other one's a free trial. They're really 2 separate campaigns, and all you have to do is just say.
I can't hear you. 1 second. Sorry, it stopped working. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all
I
right.
heard you say 2 separate events.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute Wayne and say what you just said again, Aaron.
Yeah. All I was saying was it's
Sorry. I guess it's no, now he's muted. Okay, go ahead.
certainly some audio problems there. All I was saying is it's just 2 separate campaigns, right? One's just a charity campaign, and everybody understands this is a charity event, and therefore we're charging $10 for the charity event. The other one, of course, is come try us for 3 days. So you just have to say that, right? Just be clear, and clarity is king. If anything I ever learned from Eric Ruth that was top-notch stuff was don't confuse people. Because confused people don't buy, right? And so just say, hey, this segment, this is for a charity event. It's a $2 donation to charity. And if you want to try us out for, 3 free days, we do that. All right. Come here for $10, come here for 3 days. Right.
Yeah, I think it really is that. And I think it's good that you've thought through this potential issue, but I think it's all in just the way that you handle it. And really, I think you push the $10 charity workout, and it's all about the charity. It's all about raising money for charity, and of course, giving them a great workout. And if they say, well, hey, I saw you've got a 3-day trial on a three-day trial on your website or something like that, then you could say, yeah, we do. And if you're interested in becoming a member, absolutely, I encourage you to come and take advantage of that. I just frame it that way, that if you're interested in becoming a member, come and take advantage of that. But I'd also say, but we're part of what we do is we help out local charities. And so that's why we do the $1 or the $10 charity workout.
So
is the $10 charity thing like an ongoing thing, like they can come do it anytime, or from what it just sounded like Aaron was talking about, it's a specific thing that you would announce, like, next Saturday is going to be a $10 charity workout?
Yeah. So what I recommend is that you pick a day, one day a week, like a Saturday, for instance, and you do that. That's your charity workout day, and you drive people all week long to that event. So that's what Aaron and I are going to start doing when we start promoting the referral challenge. Everything we do during the week is going to be geared towards getting people on a webinar where we sell them into the referral challenge. And we're going to do that week after week after week. So I would recommend that you, in your group, your entire week, the primary call to action is, hey, sign up for our charity workout on Saturday. That's it. Because that's what you want. You want people to show up for that charity workout because those are the people that are going to be most likely to buy from you.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense if I picture it more as just a single event instead of like an ongoing thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think so. Sorry,
okay.
I'm just writing something.
Okay. And you mentioned something that was on Pat Ridsby's Facebook page. You referred back to that about the a guy that talked about a program that he ran where he gave away 6-week transformation packages.
Yes.
As he agreed to be followed in a documentary style fashion.
Right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and we're gonna. That's one of the things we're gonna build in as a recommendation for the SmartStart marketing. I think it's brilliant. It's beautiful, and contests, things like that, can be hugely popular and really generate sort of viral virality. Let's just say that. So yeah, I'll be sharing that. I've got to ask Pat. I still haven't asked Pat if I can share it. I'm sure he's not gonna have a problem with it, but I'll share it so everybody can see it.
All right. I don't have anything else. Everything else is fine. Going good.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Wayne. I'm glad to hear it. All right, very good. Let me jump over to Aaron Lindauer. Aaron, let us know how you're doing and any questions we can help you with.
Yeah, definitely. Doing good. I'm excited to get our new site, Lynn's getting us a new site. So going back to Lynn after all these years. So, and then that's took, you don't realize how bad your website is until you decide to get a new website, and then you realize your website's really, really bad. So, but anyway, so got that stuff out the door. The thing I had a question about is getting ready. I'm ready to launch our private Facebook. Definitely just got my head wrapped around how this thing is going to be a beast. So I'm really excited to see this go. My question is anybody doing any type of advertising to get people in the group? I understand push this out to our members, push this out to everyone in my Facebook, Tony's Facebook, our team's Facebook, but then has anybody put campaigns around paying for leads, basically, I guess?
Any of you guys done that yet? No, I think probably still too. Chris, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have been just boosting some posts. That's all. I haven't really done anything extensive, but I have taken some of the Facebook posts that were provided by you guys, and I have just boosted those posts just for like $10 for the day a couple times. That's about the extent that I've done with paid ads.
Are you getting any traction off that?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. One of the things that I'm going to try and do is get Alicia Strieger on a call and have her talk about that, because that's how she built her group, was with paid ads. Admittedly, it's business to business, but still it can be tweaked. We can find ways and I'll look at some other solutions too, because that's definitely one of the, I think, ways that we should approach this. Just keeping the budget small, but pushing people into that group with some paid ads. But other than her, and I mean, she's the only person I personally know who's done that, although I've heard plenty of stories of people using paid ads to build their group.
Okay, all right. We have Canva. Got past my roadblock, so thank you.
I'm glad to hear it. And regarding websites, guys, what Aaron said is so true. You know, website just huge. You got to get it right. And the thing about Lynn Coffee, she used to be Lynn Van Dyke, so I stumble over that every time I'm about to say her name, what she does so well, what makes her different and better is that she's conversion focused. She's all about generating the lead off the site and is very, very good at that. On top of all the SEO stuff and everything else that you need in a good site and make it look nice and all that, but it's all generation focused, and that's why she's outstanding. She's going to be speaking at Master Your Business down in Houston in October, where I'll be speaking, and she's definitely worth hearing if any of you guys want to attend. So, Aaron, I don't know if I addressed your advertising question enough, but if you've got some ads that you're thinking about running and you want us to take a look at them, by all means, do that, and we'll give you some feedback on it. But I mean, it's so cheap to test these days, but we're happy to give you feedback.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll do that.
All right, good.
Thank you. Thanks for squeezing me in. I gotta do a quick interview.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for making the time, Aaron. It's good talking. All right. Okay, let's jump down to Calvin. Calvin, let us know how you're doing and any issues we can help you with.
Give me a second, go to somebody else, because my biggest issue right now is my internet. That's why I'm looking like I'm juggling back here. My lady's just here to fix it, so I don't have to dump them and go with somebody else. So let me come back. I'm listening.
Yeah, we'll do. Sounds good. Mike, I didn't ask you any specific business questions. Do you have any issues other than what we were talking about? Anything that you need to talk about?
I mean, I got a few things going on. I watched the piece on the lease that you guys were talking last week with Adrian, and I have a pretty unique situation here. I sublease the space that I'm in right now from a baseball facility, which is on the side of me, and we train predominantly athletes. So the thing is, my lease is up in January, and the other side next door, they've been kind of like, I don't think they've been doing too good over there. I know that I sublease from them, so they had a big falling out with ownership and everything, and I know a couple of the owners from prior, and so I know what they're paying for square footage over there, so I know that I'm paying more. And I went to the owner, not the owner of the building, but the owner of the facility who I sublease from, and I had a conversation with him early on in the summer about stability going forward, and I wanted to sign a long-term lease, and he was saying he only wanted to do a 2-year lease. And he said, you know what, why don't we just separate the lease? And he said, you can, I'll put you in touch with the owner of the building and you separate the lease. And I said, awesome, because that's what I wanted anyway. So just recently, I had talked to the owner of the building. He said, let's just talk as we get a little bit closer. I found out there's a power plant company that was leasing the space behind me. So there's a lot of space opening up in January, which is when our lease expires and we want to expand. So now I know this story is kind of like crazy to follow too. So now all of this, so I talked to the owner of the building on Monday and he was like, I just got back from vacation. I'm putting out some fires. He's like, let's set up a time next week that we can talk and we can meet to talk about going further. I told him I wanted a long-term lease. He didn't say anything about not doing a long-term lease. And then like 2 days later, I get a text message from the guy who I'm leasing from now, who said he was okay with us splitting the lease, who said to me, I'm trying to help Ron get things started for you with the lease. And he said, how long are you looking to stay and how long you want the lease? And I said, I want to do a 5-year, at least 5 years. And he said, well, there's some space behind you. Long story short, I started putting 2 and 2 together after talking to him. He said he doesn't want to do more than 3 years. I started saying, like, why is this guy getting involved with doing this lease if it's nothing in it for him?
Right.
Now what my concern is that what this guy's trying to do, and he's trying to figure out like how much more space I want, and he's going to go and propose to take on more space so that now he can say, oh, you know what, well, I'll get the space and I'll sublease it to you so he can make more money because they're struggling. And I talked with one of his old partners about that because I said, why does he only want to do 3 years? And he said, I don't know, it must just be his policy. He said he did the same thing with us when we first came on. So I talked to one of his former partners, and he said, he never said anything to us. So he said, we wanted 3 years. He never said anything to us about not being able to go more. So now I'm in this kind of shitty situation because technically my lease is up in January, and the guy next door who I'm subleasing from technically still has the space for another 7 months after that. So the last thing I said to him was like, well, I really want 5 years. That was the last thing I said. I still plan on talking to the owner. My plan that I have right now is to kind of play dumb when I speak with the owner. And I don't know if this is the right plan or not, but my plan is to, when I speak with him next week, to say, I'm going to say the same thing about, I want the stability for my family and all that kind of stuff going forward. I'm looking to do as a dad, with a young daughter, and I have another son on the way. I want that stability, and being underneath a lease with somebody else makes it a little bit unstable. And I think what I'm going to say is, I know that Ron told me the other day that he had talked to you and you didn't want to do more than 3 years, but I would really like to do at least 5 years, and kind of nonchalantly kind of mention it. So he'd be like, I never talked to that guy. You know what I mean? Is my thought. Actually, another guy in the guy who runs my other mastermind that I'm in is kind of the one who recommended that for me to do. That's my plan. But another one of the issues too that I'm kind of going to hold it in my pocket, really hold the bullet until I maybe absolutely need it, is that during the summer, the gas company came in here and said, started telling me that I hadn't paid my bill. They're going to shut the gas off. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, I pay all my bills. He said, well, and the guy was kind of like, and there were people around too. And he was like, well, you haven't paid in 3 months. And I said, I absolutely have. I said, let me see the bill. And I said, this isn't even me. It was the guy next door, not paying his bill. So, you know what I mean? I want to, but I also, because I'm right next door to him, and if I'm trying to do it the best way I can without ruffling any feathers, I know that a lot of people that have interacted with him business-wise have had say nothing about it. Everything is about him being a snake. So I'm just trying to figure out the best plan, really, to do it without, like I said, burning any bridges, or because in case the owner says like, no, I want to keep it as a sublease, I don't want to piss him off too much right now, because I don't know like what the issue will be. And I'm in a perfect location, perfect place to expand. I'm a half mile off the highway on 2 different major highways. Nice quiet area too. So I want to stay here. That'd be ideal for me anyway.
Do you have a relationship with the guy who owns the property at all? Do you have any type of?
Not really. I introduced myself to him because I saw him here one day during the summer, and I went up and I introduced myself and started. Other than that, I had never met him before.
Okay. Do you know if Ron has a relationship with him other than business? Do you know if they're buds or anything?
No, I don't think they are not that I know of. I know that the other guy who was like a partner with him before has a better relationship. He was the one that did all like the lease stuff because he knew him personally.
Are there more than just 2 businesses on the property?
Yes. So the building's huge. There's like a school in here too, like an adult special education really for adults with disabilities. There's the building's humongous. I think it's 18 to 20,000 square feet was being used as storage by the power plant, which has been shut down. So they're here until January, and all that space opens up. But I mean, the building's huge. I mean, it's just over a quarter of a mile, a side road here, and that's about how far back the building goes, over a quarter of a mile. Building itself.
Do you know if there are any other subleases in the building, or are they all primary?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would assume that they're probably. I would assume because it's like a school and stuff. I would assume it's probably primary. All the big leases that are here. I honestly think that the only ones that are in here is the baseball place, me, the school, and then the power plant. And there's a lot of open space. Still in it. So that's why I think I'm like, why wouldn't he want to do a 5-year lease? It's like guaranteed money.
What business does Ron run?
So here's the other part. The guy who owns the baseball place, his name is Ron, and the owner of the building's name is Ron. They're both Ron.
Oh, okay. I was confused then. So who's the guy that you sublease from? What's his business?
It's like a batting cage AAU baseball program.
Okay, it's the baseball guy. All right, yeah. Yeah, so just a couple things. I mean, these are tricky situations.
Yeah.
And so the thing that works whenever you're entering into a negotiation, the things that are going to work in your behalf are, number one, having as much information as you can possibly get beforehand, learning as much as you can, and getting as much intelligence. And I just look at it as like you're a prosecutor or a defense attorney or something like that. You want to just try and get as much information as you can about the owner, about the guy you sublease from, about the other tenants there. Try and get as much information as you can. The other thing is play dumb and ask questions. And I think, the way I would approach this, I like what you said about, sort of subtly mentioning that you was limiting it to a 3-year lease. But I just sort of play like, I'm confused. I don't really understand. Number one, I'd explain to him about that I'd like the primary lease, but what I would try and do as much as possible is talk as little as possible. I would try and ask as many questions or just play confused and just try and get him to give you information, because then you can respond. It's always better to be a counterpuncher, in my opinion, in negotiations than it is to try and, go lead off. But it's dicey. I don't know. Aaron, you got anything?
I've got a few things. First of all, Mike, let me ask you, how many square feet do you have right now, and how many square feet do you want?
I have about 4,000 square feet, and I'd like to add another at least 2,000 to, depending on what I can get for square footage. So here's the thing: like, I know that my square footage is I'm paying about $2 more per square foot than what the other guy's getting it for. So he's up my rent by that much. So I know that if I can get rid of that, if I can get rid of him and I can get the same rate, I could do 4,000 square feet right now.
Right.
To add on.
Right. So here are my two primary thoughts, and everything that Eric said is gold. This guy's on fire here. But here's what I would do. First of all, I would get the owner isolated. He and I are going to dinner or drinks or whatever it is, and we're going to have that one-on-one conversation. First of all, you want no sublease at all.
Yes.
That's off the table. No sublease at all, because you need clean contracts, right? You need a clean contract all the way across the board, right? And it may require getting a real estate agent involved, which is the second part of this. Get a real estate agent involved, right? For a couple of reasons. When I opened my last gym, I called up an old past client of mine. Do you have a client that's ever been in real estate, commercial real estate by chance?
Yeah. Yep.
That's your go-to person. Get that person on the line. Tell them what you're looking for, what you want. These people know things that are coming up that aren't on the book yet. And that's how we Gauntlet ended up in the prime location in Homewood, because an insurance company was vacating the property and nobody knew it except for the insurance agent. And we came in and we took over, and the guy walked out with 2 years left on his lease, and we took over, clean contract, 5 years. And magic can happen when you get the right people on your docket. All right. So that's what I would suggest. And
when you said, like, you want a clean contract, no sublease, any tips really on how to really get that point across to why I want it? When he's like, what's the big deal between whether you have a sublease or not?
Well, it's in the best benefit. I mean, it's in the best interest of everybody. If you have a sublease under the batting cage company, and the batting cage company goes out of business, what happens to the sublease?
Yeah, exactly. That's what my point was going to be. Yeah.
Right. And moreover, if the sublease guy doesn't pay his bills, I mean, who are you paying? Who are you paying? Are you paying the property owner, or are you paying the guy that has the sublease?
Yeah, I'm paying. Yeah, I pay that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you need a clean contract, no matter where this thing lands.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of angles here, and that's why it's best just to start writing down everything that you can. we talked to Adrian about this before, even if though you obviously love where you are, the worst thing you can do whenever you and I've done this before when I was younger, when you walk into a house you're looking at potentially buying and you're with the real estate agent, you're like, man, this place is awesome.
Yeah.
And they got you,
Yeah.
And so that's what you don't want them to know is how much you love it and how desperate you are to stay there. You even just dropping hints like, well, I was talking to my friend who's a commercial real estate agent and because I'm concerned, and that's how I put it. I'd say, because I'm worried, I'm tied in with this guy, and no offense to Ron, and maybe he's a great guy, I don't know, but I'm a little worried because of some issues that have come up, and I wouldn't go into the details. I'd just say some things, and if he asks you, then you can talk about with that gas bill and everything. But I'd say, I'm a little concerned. I got a kid, I got all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm looking at what other options might be available to me. But, my first choice would be to try and stay here, of course, but I just need to have that lease and just try and get as much out of him as you can. But I like what Aaron said, particularly if the owner, if you can get him out and he maybe likes to toss a couple back, get him a little lubricated, that can help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
It'll be another big learning experience for you,
Yeah.
Mike, just like the whole other deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, man. All right. Okay. Chris, you're good. Okay, Calvin, I'll get right to you. Just let me get to Chris first. Chris, give us an update on how you're doing and any questions or issues you've got.
Okay. Things are going really, really well. 28-day challenge is about almost 75 people signed up for that. So going really, really well there. Charity workout went awesome last weekend. So that was great. So just looking at Get Fit Kent County right now, and which is my SmartStart page. So what I've been focusing on this week is reaching out to every partner that I have or any relationship that I have, and I have appointments scheduled with all of them for the next 3 months, or Facebook Live sessions within the group scheduled with them over the next 3 months, so that I can go to their facility, do a live interview, and then I'm featuring them as an expert and having them give some examples. First one being Monday, I have a chiropractor coming into my place and doing a presentation, which will go live on that. We invited people from the group to come out for free for that, as well as my members, of course, and then we'll also feature it live on Facebook as well. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on with Get Fit Kent County. My question for you was along the lines of Aaron was, where are we now in terms of advertising? I missed the beginning part of the last call, was that you had given us some Facebook posts, a couple different examples, and I didn't know if that, what the intention of that was. Are we supposed to advertise with that, or what were your thoughts there?
Yeah, I would post them just as a regular post, first of all, and then you could boost them as well. Obviously, the second one is more complicated. The first one about depression is very simple, straightforward. The second one, you'd have to be ready to run that campaign. And as we discussed, this might not be the best time for it. Plus the length, 90 days. There's a couple issues that you'd need to look at and maybe adapt and address. And I'm trying to pull that stuff together and put together a little packet of marketing tools and suggestions that you guys can follow. But so regarding advertising, Chris, I think I would just test some things, different content and different posts. And what I'm working on right now, because that's really the big focus right now is on SmartStart stuff. And as you might have seen, I posted today in the Facebook group some things about the BuzzSumo articles and things like that. That is, there will be some angles there that we're looking at in terms of giving you guys things that you can use to market. But what we're going to focus on primarily is just giving you ideas, not necessarily content, but ideas, so that you can just flesh it out a little bit with your own personal touch, modeling some headline formulas and things like that we know have worked. But we're not going to be able to just constantly give you all a bunch of content. It's just too labor intensive. But we'll give you a calendar and some ideas for things, and then best practices, and we'll just keep pushing forward and trying to improve on that. And advertising, I think, should be a part of the mix, and that's something we have to look at. But Aaron and I we got to talk to Alicia, get some ideas on that and how we can move forward. But we just need you guys to take some initiative, as you have in a big way, to do some things that you think would spark interest in your group, in addition to what we're giving to you. So okay. I think it's great that you're doing the partner stuff. That's huge. And, just make sure that you let them know, hey, if we're going to be, I want to be interviewing you, but be sure and send your members to the group so they can, watch the interview and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. The only other question I had or conversation I'd like to have is this whole week for me, I had to push the pause button on all of my projects, essentially, because I run my workouts in phases, and it was time for a new phase next week. So basically for the last week, I've been writing workouts every day. So I wanted to talk about that, because that is a time suck, and that's an obstacle that just has always held me back. And so I understand the idea behind putting a system in place, so that once the system's in place, you can just rotate the workouts and utilize that system. But I don't know, it just seems like I'm always trying to reinvent the wheel, which is probably the problem. But so yeah, I just wanted to get a feel for that, like what everyone else is doing, so that doesn't continue to happen.
So you're talking about time suck in terms of creating the workout, the programming.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, go ahead, Aaron.
Chris, are you a boot camp? I mean, are you a large group training environment?
So we do small group personal training and large group conditioning training. So we do both.
Have you looked at Fred Zoller's 365 workout program? It's free, dude.
I have that already.
All right. Yeah. Well, is that helpful at all?
So yeah, that was a good reference tool for specifically my large group conditioning as well. So, which isn't too bad, but it's still labor intensive, because I have a bit of an older clientele with a lot of injuries and problems and things of that nature. So every template that I would look at to speed up the process tends to have to be modified quite a bit. So, it's still fairly labor intensive. My small group training is all based on FMS. So it's pretty intensive in terms of programming there. It's very specific.
Can I jump in there, because sounds like you do a lot of like what we do. So we do a lot of individualized programming, and it's all those template things have been. It's one thing when you're working with a large group, but it becomes difficult when you do a lot of individualized programming for specific people who have specific movement patterns you're working on or whatever. So we have that same issue, and we have roughly 40 programs a week that it comes out to that we have to write individually from anywhere from 2 to 4 days. So are you the only coach, or?
Well, I'm the only one who does any programming.
Okay. So that's exactly how I was too. And what I did was I took 2 of my lead guys who had been here for a while, and I put together a whole entire, thing. And I kind of went off like Mike Robertson and really did some good stuff on it too, in terms of programming and how you go about programming. And then I just put them through a training course where it was literally they get to work with, they'd get one client. They started with me, but they'd get one client, and then it would spend a little bit of time at first, but I would be evaluating the programming, how they were doing it. And then I would give them like certain clients. So, and that's how I have it now. So I have 2 coaches that do other programming too. Any of the really, if there's somebody that has like a lot of major issues, or if it's a really like a higher end athlete, I'll do all the programming. But if it's somebody who's coming in who's, pretty good, I tend to now hand them over, and I still oversee the programming. But a lot of times we'll sit in the office. It'll be like certain times the day that we'll do programming, and I'll have 3 guys in here doing programming. We'll all be doing them together. And then all of our coaches work with all of our people too. So they all provide feedback on it too. So, I mean, because we could never really streamline it as far as any of those products, because it was so hard to do it, to make it specific to the person that they really needed. But I also got to where it was like, man, I can't do 40 programs. It was couldn't do anything else. I literally could not do anything else besides programming. It was like a 40-hour a week job, just programming. So that's what I did. and we've had some really good success with it. And what I actually found too with my coaches that when they get a certain person, they become a lot more vested actually in the individual, because they're the ones that are doing their programming now. And I'd give them feedback on it. And again, I started with just a couple clients, and then as they started getting better, constantly giving constructive feedback. And I watched 2 guys really, really grow and do really well with it. But again, I still would be in that same situation as you. It was really hard for me because I was like, oh, I can't let anybody else write the programs. But I was like, man, I have to let somebody else write the programs or I'm never going to be able to do this. So that's kind of where I was. But it's really been successful for me. It's been a big relief. I mean, I'm writing maybe 10 programs a week now instead of 40.
So, Mike, let me jump in. And Chris, to echo Mike's point, one of the beautiful things about Forrest Walden is when he opened up Iron Tribe, his first hire, besides myself, was that guy that was going to do that. That was the first hire. It was the guy that was going to take care of all the programming, and he became the guy that did all the programming, and plus he was on the floor coaching. So he's the head coach, head programmer. And, so that's the way. And
I actually use that too. That's another way. Like we're only open 27 hours a week. So it's like, how we get a guy that's like full time? You know what I mean? You can't give him full time. So giving him more responsibilities was good. And that was a huge one.
Wait a minute, Mike. You're only open 27 hours a week?
Yeah. Yep.
You're athlete based.
What's that?
You're athlete based.
Yes. Yep. We do adult training too, but we're open, from 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock most nights, and then Friday we're open till 7, and we're open a few hours in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday mornings we're open. We don't do anything middle of the day. We don't do anything other than like large group and then semi-private training. So we're pretty full.
Let's get back to the problem at hand, though. So, Chris, you're talking about programming for all your clients. You're not talking about the programming you need to do for SmartStart. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Workout program. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's pretty straightforward, simple, just a simple workout. I will mention this to you. Camellia, she knows trainers, and we've worked with a couple here locally that are very, very good. And now Camellia gets all of her programming done by one of our former trainers, who's a great guy. And she pays him for it, $10 a workout. And so that's what I mentioned that only because maybe is there any way that is this something that could potentially be outsourced if you had a really highly qualified, trainer that you could communicate with, or would somebody need to actually meet your clients in order to do this?
That's a good question. I think part of the problem is that just me letting go is probably the biggest obstacle of all, more than likely, right? But we have set the bar extremely high, which I tend to do with everything that I do, which then it's a double-edged sword. It can bite you on the back end, but because the instructor would have to be FMS, and because every workout that we have is built upon the FMS screen. So that would be the only caveat. Can it be outsourced? Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, let me ask Camellia about, because Danny, this guy that I'm talking about, he trained both of us for a while, and Camellia knows him real well. He's got credentials at the wazoo. I'll ask him and just say, maybe it might be a potential solution for you. If he has a qualification, you've got to put him in touch with you. That's something, and I think, you listen to what Mike said. Same problem, let's let it go. But you got to find a way. I know I'm anal about that too. It's your baby. I mean, that's the thing, and you take a lot of pride in it, I understand. But you got to find a way to get leverage. You obviously recognize that.
Right. Cool. Thanks, Mike, for that. I appreciate it, man.
No problem. Anytime. If you want to talk more about it too, just let me know. I don't mind hopping on a call or whatever with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd appreciate that.
No problem.
All right, great. All right. Calvin, let's go to you now. Give us an update and let us know any questions you got.
Yes, sir. Real quick, Chris, did you just say you have 75 people in your 28-day deal?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we need to talk. I was like all amped up about my little black dress deal, and I'm like, I got 20, 28, and yeah, we need to talk because I need to blow it out the water like that, dude. For real, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I can tell you, it's all Facebook ads, bro. All Facebook ads.
Yeah, we'll rap about it. We'll rap about it. So last week I was on the call, and I had to jump off because we were making all of our calls for Little Black Dress. We're running a Little Black Dress started last week, and went to our first week with it. And you sold 28 new folks from out there at 197, and then we had 5 members come in at 47. So that's what we're running right now. So the little surge. Obviously, I want to be better at upselling and bringing folks in to continue on what we're doing there. So that's kind of what we're running right now. So that one being a pretty big one in regards to the 6-week challenge. So doing that right now, I think one of my biggest things is now that I have 3 coaches, I'm training or coaching no more than 20 hours a week. The next transition at some point in time would be where all 4 of us have a fourth of the training. So I step one more layer down. Right now I'm doing about a little bit less than half of the coaching, and then other folks, everyone else is doing the other side of it. So I want to be the next part to really, but I'm not capitalizing on my time. I know time blocking and things of that sort, but I've got stuff, and I got to figure out how to reverse engineer this and figure out where I'm at. Obviously, the primary thing is this building for the primary gym, but at the same time, I'm trying to bring stuff online. I know I have things in front of me that needs to add on top of what we're doing, that I can't just wait till, hey, let's get the gym all the way, like we were talking earlier about perfection, making it perfection. I need to get the gym running all the way like it needs to, revenue-wise, the organization-wide. So I need that program once y'all get that hammered out, the one you're doing earlier about the systems and on board and all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff I'm really trying to get out of this whole referral challenge itself. But to give me the freedom, the time to actually build the online, the other systems, because real talk, I'm trying to build. I sold my old house. I'm renting right now in a smaller house. I want to be in a position by early next year to with the extra income and things I need to do to make this flow like it needs to, and to be able to do the other projects on the outside. So that's kind of where I'm at. And with the organization and time management, the productivity is what I need to kind of put all this stuff into work, because I feel like I'm just I'm herding cats at sometimes in my thought process.
I hear you. Let me show you something. This little thing right here. It's a timer. This is something I highly recommend. If you put a timer on your work, so you want to work, you need to get maximum productivity out of the time you're sitting down to do stuff, because you got so many things. As a business owner, you got so many balls in the air. You got to make sure stuff gets done, and it gets done fast, and you're focused. And that's why I use a timer if I'm going to write or something like that. I just set the timer for 40 minutes or 50 minutes, and I go hard for 50 minutes, and then I'll take a break for whatever, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then come back to it. I think it just helps focus the mind. Time blocking and timing of your work can go a long, long way in terms of maximizing your productivity while you're sitting down to work. I mean, just getting that stuff and minimizing distraction, because you got to stay focused. It's hard to teach. It's hard to even explain. You just got to do it and experience it. But I think having a timer would help you a lot, Calvin.
Okay. I started doing the tomato timer, the deal on that. And of course, Darren Hardy's productivity thing come up. Like, I'm not ready to spend $2,000 on. I got to focus in on exactly what I'm doing right now with the referral challenge and pull everything out there and get that moving. And I know all this, like I said, getting systemized. And that's exactly what I'm just really. I know I'm not maximizing my time.
You're distracted. I know that about you just from the time that I've known you and heard the things that you said. You're easily distracted by shiny objects, as are many of us. I'm not pointing a finger. I'm guilty too. I've learned how to shut down those distractions for the most part. I've become better just over time at isolating exactly what I need and what I don't need. To you, I think you're at the point where a lot of things look really good to you, and you just have to figure out what is in your best interest. And oftentimes having a one-on-one coach, is a good way to work through that. That's what Camellia does so well. Do you work with anybody? Do you work specifically with a coach?
Not one-on-one. I'm in Pat Rigsby's ideal, business deal, and of course, in the regular stuff like that. I was working with Tony Gomez with more Facebook stuff like that. But as far as one-on-one, no, I've always been in programming. Different programs itself where I get a good bit of personal touch, but not, that one-on-one.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, it's something to consider, think about for you, because I think, you know, folks that have been through it, that worked with it, you know, it's just like, I mean, you know, this is, you coach for a living, so
Right.
you know the benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Other than that, though, tell us how it went, how your charity event went.
Oh, it went awesome. That's right. We didn't talk to that. We raised 17,000 for that, and that. So the goal was 2,000. We got that by the end of the month. That we plan on being able to raise the rest of that, which would be nothing. Got some more interest in some people from that. You know, that was about 100 or so people. We had between 90 and 100 people that came out from the community with 8 different programs. Us, CrossFit. It was the yoga people, the cycling people, the new Coco Fit. Everybody came together, which is pretty cool that everybody came together and do what we need to do. I was one of the leaders, so kind of had a good bit of voice in the midst of it. So good bit of feedback and play on that. Right now, really awesome is with the cystic fibrosis program, who we specifically going with, the Burnett County one. The 2 girls are doing awesome. Their parents are training. So I've got the parents and the 2 daughters who both have cystic fibrosis are training with me. Another lady who's in this community who was a college athlete, she just started in a little black dress program, and she has cystic fibrosis as well. So there's going to be a good bit of awareness and some interviews and things we're going to do to bring more awareness to it. I need to make a poster because, like I said, I had Sweat Angels before. I need to put a poster to let people know more about how to post and how to actually make your the check-ins for charity and deal like that too. So that's going to happen this upcoming week to make that happen. But yeah, all that stuff is moving in the right direction. I just haven't really fully gone in with my my page, my Get Fit program and stuff like that. I need to do the commercial. I need to do the video. Like I said, last week was just a blur, get everything going in with the little black dress. But that did launch well. My coaches, we had a great orientation, great outcome. But obviously, we want to make sure we convert a lot of these folks to stay in.
All right, let me just say 2 things. Number one, I think you need an accountability partner. And one of the things you should do is work on every evening before, half an hour before you're going to shut it down, write out your to-do list for the next day, and then give it to your overlord of operations or your wife or whomever can be oftentimes a spouse is not the best accountability partner because that can cause some strife. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's problematic. But maybe it's just your admin, your overlord, and just say, hey, look, here's my to-do list for tomorrow. I want you to check in with me tomorrow at lunch, and I'm going to bounce these. You're giving her authority, which again, that can be tricky too. But the bottom line is you need somebody to help hold you accountable because you got a lot of stuff on your to-do list. And I think you just need more clarity, which comes from writing it down, and then more accountability, which comes from a third party.
Makes sense.
Yeah. The other thing is, and I've said this to you before, but you are a really good public speaker. You present yourself well. You have high energy. You're articulate. I'm telling you, man, I think you need to get out and about. And you should watch the movie The Founder if you haven't yet about.
Yeah, I did. The McDonald's deal? Yes.
Yeah. I just love the scene in there, about 10, 15 minutes, where he's going from Kiwanis to this place to that place, just up in front, just selling. He's just up, selling the vision and physically selling as well. And I think people that, when you can do that at a high level, you can grow faster than there's no other way to grow. That's the fastest way to grow a business. So, and I think you got to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Funny you say that. This morning I spoke to the football team. Unfortunately, they took the parents out. So it was just the football team for the high school varsity team, and I just spoke to those kids. And I'm pretty sure what I told them in the off season, I should see some of those kids because basically just bring your A game kind of deal. But so I do need to use that more, and that's kind of where I've been wanting to go more into the Facebook live stuff. If I can get stable internet. My internet lady's I'm messing with her. She's in it right now. I'm on my phone now trying to get this done. But yes, that is a part of the Facebook and things that I'm trying to do live and actually get in the community and do more. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Good. All right, man. Well, let's move on. Adrian, before you say anything, we all want to say congratulations, Mr. Married Man. That's just tremendous, brother. Very, very happy for you. The pictures were awesome. Your bride, your wife is beautiful. Why aren't you down in Aruba? I guess that's not the best place to be right now. Why aren't you, somewhere exotic?
I know. We'll plan it eventually.
I hear you.
But thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It looked like a lot of fun out there in the woods. Was it? Was that a good time? Everything goes smoothly? Yeah.
It's great. It was exactly how we wanted it. There was close to zero planning. We just had to get family involved. And it was nice because the weather worked out perfectly and it was very beautiful and everything was simple. And it was easy.
That's nice. That is nice. Well, congratulations, man. We're very happy for you.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
So what's going on? How are things and what can we help you with?
A whole entourage of nonsense combined with good things. So I was just listening to everybody else, and because I'm sure some of you have seen the post, and a lot of you guys helped me through that post. It escalated. It got a lot worse as time went on. ARIN helped me through a lot of that. But I think I spent enough emotional energy on it. I want to worry about it, but I don't want to worry about it. It's just people, some clients with really, some are valid concerns, but some aren't valid. And it just was really upsetting to me to hear all that stuff. A lot of it, a lot of it is some of them being upset by the way that I explained how the two trainers who left. From my understanding, the two trainers are pretty much telling people that it's all my fault, and they don't want to accept any sort of personal responsibility for it. Which I don't. I mean, whatever, fine, okay, that's their prerogative. But then the clients got upset about how I explained their departure because I tried to put it in really good terms, hey, they're moving on, all this stuff. I don't need to air out dirty laundry, as ARIN put it, in front of clients. You know what I mean? Whatever happens between employer doesn't need to. There's no reason for it to have to be publicly announced. It's less drama involved. So they were really upset about me and calling me dishonest and a liar, and it was hurtful. It was really hurtful.
In a public format in the group.
Yeah, and it went on about how that was the elephant in the room and how they're upset at me and wondering what's going to happen to the space, because I mentioned that we're trying to get a bigger space, but all of a sudden people took that to say oh yeah, we're definitely moving, even though that was never said. So that was another annoying thing. And then other people just chiming in, talking about how boot camp isn't the same as it used to be back when it was smaller and all that stuff. And it's all right, well, change is a constant, so I can't really change that. There's just an entourage of a lot of really annoying things for me to deal with, on top of the two coaches just leaving. So that was kind of the Band-Aid being ripped off, because they suddenly left, and people are still kind of grieving about it. I mean, it's a good thing. They're sad that the trainers are gone. It means we did something right. Better that than a coach or a trainer leaving and then no one cares. That's, so I know at least we did something right. We get good people in.
I just want to mention, I read that post that you made. It's interesting. You have a way of getting a lot of people engaged in posts, because when you post stuff, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of activity on that post that you made, and I thought everything was really good. I was reading ARIN Lindauer's, and I thought that what you said, ARIN, was just spot on. And I also if you could sort of synthesize it down, or at least one element of it is that old saying. Don't wrestle with a pig, because you both end up getting dirty and the pig likes it, kind of thing. And I think if in my view, I would just pivot, go totally positive, start talking about all the great things you're doing, and let this shit go.
And that's pretty much what I did. It was bad how it started, because Catherine noticed, my wife. So just so you guys know, Catherine, she noticed the post, and it made her so sick to her stomach that she couldn't. It was during one of our workouts that she couldn't keep working out. So we just walked out of the gym together, and I was all right, we got to handle this. And it was really obnoxious to start. But so what I did was it started at 4:30 ish, and I got ARIN was nice enough to get on a call with me to help me sort it out, because I couldn't explain it. So I just shared my screen with him about what was going on. It was about like an hour. And then I just basically posted like, all right, like at 6 p.m., I'm deleting this post because the group is dedicated to being positive, not negative, you know. And I tagged each one of the people who commented on it and just saying, I will message you. We're going to set up a meeting. Because they were also saying that. They said we needed a family meeting. And it sounds like it's time for a meeting and all this stuff. So I'm like, all right, fine, let's have a freaking meeting. So I group messaged all of them together. So I already met with 2 of them earlier. I'm meeting 3 of them tonight and then the other 2 tomorrow morning. The only one I'm worried about is tomorrow morning because it's the 2 people who really antagonized the post. And I'm just at the point where I just want to sit down with them tomorrow and just listen and be like, all right, well, I can't promise you anything. And honestly, if you want to leave, you can leave, you know, like, and just leave it at that. You know, I'm not going to apply a cancellation fee. Just go. Like they each have a month left on their agreement anyways. And they were saying in the group how if the culture doesn't change, then they might not renew their membership anyways. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, that's right. You know what Dan Kennedy used to say when he was up on stage? I loved it. Actually, Sean and I used this quite a few times for a while, and then I kind of got sick of it. But I like the premise of it. He would say when he was doing his pitch, in the portion of his pitch, he'd be like, you know, you should buy this. You're selling it. You're pitching it. You should buy this. But if you don't, I'm still going to eat steak tonight. You know, and I think that's a great attitude to have, and that should be your attitude. And it sounds like you've adopted that. It's just like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, whatever. I want everybody to be happy, move forward, and we are working on, but we are building a family here. That's what I'm all about. But if you don't see that, or you disagree with it, or you don't appreciate our values, then by all means, take advantage of your opportunity to leave, and there won't be any. So yeah, I would do that. But make sure that there's some authority to it. That it's not that you're okay with it, totally okay with it.
Yeah, and out of all that, I think one of the hardest things, like the one that hit me the most, was when people started saying, because we always call each other family, and it's pretty ingrained in who we are. And so people got upset that you're only family if you can afford it, and that was like that's something that hits home for me, only because I grew up in an environment of my mom and dad always arguing about money, first of all. So I know my personal relationship to it is like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, there's a million gyms that close across America every other freaking day. So it's like, we got to make a profit. You know what I mean? We can't not make money, It's like, what do you want from me? That's what I want to say to these people. It's like, what do you want from me?
I agree. I think you just have to be circumspect about how you say it and in what environment or setting you say it. But yeah, you got to stand by your values. And I think everybody in this group is pretty much, we're all capitalists and we believe in meritocracy, so there ain't no free lunch for anybody,
Yeah. And I think, one thing that helps me justify it, and if I was doing everything on my own, I wouldn't think this way. But one thing that does help me justify it is having coaches who work with me. Because I'm like, what are they worth in my mind? They're worth a lot. And I'm not going to undercharge for them to serve you in a way. So I'm kind of glad that when I think about it that way, I don't feel down about it anymore. Because it's like, I want to charge more because I want to, I want the coaches to be happy and I want them to know their worth, So it's like, I like that I can think that way. And I think, Aaron, I know we were talking about it while it was happening, but I haven't told you this part yet because I just had to think about it. But I think that Dan Kennedy expression of you should buy it, but if you don't, I'll still eat steak tonight. I think deep down inside I've always wanted that as a person. I think I've always wanted to have that attitude, but believe it, not just know it, but freaking live it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a really, 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 really hard thing for me to do because, and that's 99% of my stress is if a client cancels, yeah, I can figure out what to improve on, but I shouldn't waste so much time on it. It's and I think the trainers leaving who people really enjoyed and they're really sad about it. And then this whole dramatic post happening and me feeling I've never felt so sick to my stomach and so bad about something in my entire life, believe it or not. But I feel like over time, as I recover from this, I think it'll help me to have that, you know, even if you don't buy this, I'll have my steak tonight kind of attitude. Because it's like, yeah, like it will be okay.
It,
you know,
it totally will be. It's not a fluke that you have 300 members. You didn't get there by luck. You know how to build a business. You've done it, and now it's just about you having that confidence and reminding yourself, being your own number one best cheerleader, and living it. Because you just say, if you want to live those values, then live them. That it's just the decision that this is who I am. I will eat steak tonight, and if you leave, hey, don't let the door hit you on your way out. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but that's how I'd sort of feel about it. It's your loss. That's how I would, you know, it's the client's loss. The other thing is, it's really important to keep in mind for all of us. It's hard for me too. I've been doing this a long, long time, but still, it's that old thing about, you know, if you don't want to be criticized, don't say anything, don't do anything, don't never leave the house kind of thing. You know, criticism is inevitable. There will always be a critic. There will always be, you know, inevitably be haters. It's funny, to this day, if you search my name on Google, and I will not go away, but there's one negative post there, and it's from Bedros, from back in the day, 2005 or something. I got in a little scuttle with him online, which was stupid, and that's the whole wrestling with the pigs thing. I never should have done that, but I did, and he had some post on his site and got a lot of traction with it because he had a lot of followers, and it's now like linked to my name, and I can't freaking get rid of it. And every time I see it, it pisses me off. But criticism, there will always be criticism.
Yeah.
You gotta, you know, roll with it.
Yeah.
Let me just jump in real quick. I want to highlight something you said that I think is worth the expounding on. And the difference between knowing something and believing something.
Yeah.
Right? And in business, dude, you've got to believe what you know. And they are different. Those are two different disciplines.
Yeah.
People know they should eat right, but do they believe they should eat right? And when you believe it, you actually are, you know, it's something actionable. So when you believe your own PR, you can take action. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this stuff is happening. It's kind of cliched and goofy maybe, but I'm going to say anyway, it's happening for a reason. You know, it's happening for a reason. And this is just part of your growth. And part of the, you know, it's the trials and tribulations of business, and you'll get through it. But what's most important is to remember, stay in control, be confident, believe in yourself, and don't let anybody push you around, man. If those people, if they're going to be jerks, sayonara. See ya.
I think it's good that it's happening. Like the past like 2 freaking weeks have been absurd for me, outside of the wedding. Obviously that was awesome.
Yeah.
But it's just with all the other stuff going on, you know, it's like, and I'm still like, just to kind of give you like perspective about the other stuff going on. It's like, I'm finally starting the freaking SmartStart group. I got the domain today, and they're going to make a ClickFunnels site and redirect it to that domain. So it's like getting on that. I'm doing also, we do a full week Balanced Habits Kickstart every 3 times a year. So we're doing that. So I'm letting my other 2 coaches handle what they got to handle. So I'm just doing the Kickstart. So that's been fun, like taking my mind off of stuff. And then our conversation last week about the lease negotiations, I think I've gotten to a point where I'm just going to kind of put in my final offer. And if they don't want it, then I can just walk away from it. It gives me more peace of mind. And I know that like where it's at right now, I know the deal wouldn't fit my situation. It wouldn't be in my direction anyways. So I'm okay. I'm okay waiting, you know. And I made a post about it recently to clarify things to all my clients anyways, about it's going to take as long as it needs to take, you know. And like, just to be clear, like we aren't moving, because there were people who like were texting me saying like, congrats on the new space. And I'm like, like what? Like what new space, you know?
How did that get out in the first place?
Because I asked people actually, like, because what I did was I let people know, hey, like obviously we're like growing and looking, I want to look for a bigger space. It was pretty much all I said. Like that's it. And then that somehow like telephone gamed itself into, oh yeah, we're moving.
Yeah, right. I hate all my clients. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny how stuff will. Yeah.
I know. So yeah, it's like, yeah. So I'm just trying to handle everything else as best as I can. Another good thing that's kind of happened as a result is I've jumped back into training sessions, which I think for me will be good. It'll get my mind off stuff. I've been at my facility a crap ton more, just hanging out, shooting the shit with clients, just having fun. And that's been a really good stress reliever for me because I realize like I'm in my happy place when I'm there and I'm never really too stressed out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good. I realize I'm more stressed out when I'm away from there than when I'm actually there. I don't know why, but yeah. So that's good. So I guess like I've been just waiting for like my chance on this call to figure out what the hell I'm going to talk about. And I don't really have much. I think like I'm trying to think of everything I could do. And I guess there's not much that I want to ask for help for. Like there's enough I have on my plate. Like I know I'm going to follow Aaron's reactivation campaign to do that because I want to do a reactivation campaign in the fall. We're doing our Kickstart right now. I got my hands full with that. I got that testimonial autopilot system, and I think that'll help because if I can delegate that to an admin, that would be sweet, and do it myself too. Currently hiring an admin. So on that note, I recently interviewed her just yesterday, like a final interview. I let her know about the starting hours and how it's not full-time yet, but it could work itself into a full-time position. And she said, like, she's okay with that. So I think what I'm going to do is bring her on board, give her that 90-day probation period to test her out and see if she's a really good fit, and then go from there. So I just have to build out a 90-day probation period type training thing where somebody can kind of prove their mettle, I guess, and then just go from there. So 2 teammates leave, new teammate on board, figuring out the space, lease negotiations, doing the Kickstart, all this stuff. So, all right.
Let me just jump in. You need to buy Mike's admin program today.
It's not available yet. It will be soon. It will be soon.
You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
As soon as this released, you should be the launch guy for this thing.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, Aaron.
At what time is your talk with your clients tomorrow?
8:15 in the morning.
Sweet. So you'll knock it out. Short and sweet. You know the drill, obviously. Listen, move them on if you got it. But then you need to go relax. You need to go take your wife somewhere and you get the hell out of Dodge for a minute. Like,
I don't know how to do that with where I'm at though, Aaron. Like the way that things are going, I feel like I just want to stick around for at least a little bit until it like settles.
well, here's the thing. Like, this is going to settle. Unfortunately, this has happened. We've had our fair share, all of us, go through this stuff, and it is part of the growth and learning. It sucks though, because it is mentally so draining because you care. I mean, you genuinely care. Your choice to move someone on is your choice, or 2 people, whatever. The fact that clients are so ingrained in your business is awesome, but you do have these flip sides of it. So, tomorrow's meeting, you're going to have a gut reaction as you listen to these 2 gals, and you got to come at them with your heart and say, listen, I wouldn't like go in emotionally, you've made me sick, but I would let them know, this has really bothered me. This has affected my week, and I care so much about you. I'm glad. So anyways, you know what to say as far as it goes on that side of things, but I really think you need to breathe. Camelia would always tell Tony and I that every 90 days we needed to get the heck out of our gym, because you want to be there. You care so deeply about these people and this product. They're all fine. They're all fine. There's 2 maybe that need to go. And if they choose to stay, do you really want them to stay? I mean, that's a tough, because I saw you post, like, how do nicely remove a client,
Yeah.
you let them know that there's a Fit Body boot camp down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, we have sent, it's sad to say, but by raising the rates, we have sent other troublesome members down the road.
Yeah.
And that other owner takes them on at a lower rate thinking that she's winning. But I'm like, all right,
No, you're the one that's winning, but I genuinely would, tomorrow after you have this conversation, you and your wife need to go do something. I mean, you need to go have dinner somewhere special. You just need to breathe, because this consumes you, and it's taken a lot of emotional power, because it should, you care. But I genuinely feel like you need, I mean, even if you guys went and got a hotel somewhere else, had a nice dinner, awesome, or if you could just go have dinner. I mean, Camellia would tell you this in a heartbeat, that you need to get out of this situation. Because there's nothing you're magically gonna say, these numbers are fine. You give this one more week, no one's flipping talking about it.
yeah.
Adrian, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And I was actually, on that note, I was going to let Catherine do all the talking because she'll be there for the meeting tomorrow with me.
Oh, does Catherine work in the business with you?
No, but she's like immensely involved because I talk about it with her every day and she sees everything that goes on. So, I mean, she's basically on my level of everything that we know about.
All right. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I don't know.
I know. But
Do they know her? Do they know her? Have they ever met her before?
They have, yeah. But I mean, it's because when you mess with me, she gets so defensive about it. So
I know, but I'll tell you, one of the things I think you need to work on, and I think it could be potentially part of the problem, is authority. I think you need a stronger pimp hand, for lack of a better word. And I'm not knocking you. That's because you're, as Aaron was saying, you are, and we all know, you lead with your heart. You're a good person. But I think, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be good. I'm just saying, just think about that. I think authority is important. And that's why if it were me, I wouldn't let my wife, or if I was a woman, let my husband, but somebody who doesn't actually work. You're the principal. You own that business. Yeah. I think it should be your responsibility to handle this issue. That's my gut.
No,
I agree with that.
That's fine. I just was kind of joking around that Catherine has choice words for them. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I guess, well, on that note, and maybe you guys can help me with this. To me, I'm trying to think of how to word it. I had it in my head while you were talking, but I didn't want to say anything. So
you're not listening. You're thinking of other things.
I always think, man. You know that. I'm not even I'm gonna own it. Yeah, of course I'm thinking. Gosh.
I'll tell you, active listening, one of the most important skills you'll ever learn.
Lesson for a later day.
All right, but
I know.
Because otherwise things just go like this.
Especially with your wife.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And let me just stop you for a second, because what Aaron Lindauer just said to you, that will serve you so well. You're 1 week into your marriage now. Imagine that, 1 week. Just heed what Aaron just told you and live that. If you just take 1 day a week and make it really special, all about you and your wife, and not talking about shop, no work talk, just
sit there in silence.
Yeah. No, just talk about how beautiful her eyes are and how awesome she smells and how much you just love being around her, just for an hour.
Yeah.
You will have a happy wife and a happy life.
Yeah.
I hear a rumor, Adrian, that I can't substantiate because I haven't done it in a long time, but I hear hotel sex is the best.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I should just be on these calls for the most interesting conversations. That's all I should do.
Oh, Eric, don't highlight this in the real, all right?
All these conversations with Adrian end up being, there's always some good stuff that comes out of it. One other thing I want to mention to you, Adrian, is this, and you said you bought Brad's autopilot testimonial system, which I think is very smart. But I'll tell you, one of the things that is so empowering for business owners is when you get a bunch of social proof, when you get a bunch of testimonials. So you should do things to stimulate them, and Brad's system will show you how. But an idea for you to consider is, and Keith Lipton's going to do this, is to model what Aaron and I just did with the whole gift letter and asking for a review, that type of thing. Because if you were to do something along those lines, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised by all the wonderful feedback you get, and that will make you feel really good.
Yeah, makes sense. I can do that. And I did not that long ago. I have a book that's written and published, I guess. Yeah, it's done. So I guess what I could do is, before I kind of make like a big announcement about it, I could just give people copies of that as a thank you gift for doing a review. And I was thinking about that, so that could work.
There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, but yeah.
Yeah. So I had a question about authority. Like, I don't want to come across as like above reproach or above feedback.
No.
Like, to me, like, so I guess, how do you differentiate authority versus that? I guess, like, how do you be authoritative without necessarily coming across as like, oh, Adrian's like too good to talk to you, something like that, you know?
Anybody want to take that?
Look, man, anybody that knows you have their best interest at heart, and there it is, you can give anybody a rebuke who knows you have their best interest at heart.
Yeah.
Right? I've done it to you.
Yeah.
You've done it to me. Eric's done it to me. I've done it to Forrest. Forrest has done it to me, you know, and that's what relationships are, dude. If you care about somebody, you're going to call them on their carpet, right?
Yeah. And so my thoughts on it are, I think you need to pick and choose your moments, you know, and I think there's a time, and it really comes down to what Aaron just said, and that's relationship. If there's no relationship or little relationship, being authoritative can also sometimes seem, sometimes appear to be inapproachable or rough or brusque, you know, things like that. And but that's not what you're dealing with, people who should know you pretty well at this point. So you have to trust that they do know that you're a good-hearted guy. And at this point, so when you're in this situation tomorrow, I think it's one of those times where you don't say as much. You know, you ask questions, you try and get clarity on things. But I should say, you don't say as much that is emotionally loaded. You know, I'd say I was hurt, as Aaron said. I'd say this stung, you know, something along those lines. And I want to avoid it at all costs going forward, or not at all costs. I wouldn't say that. I said this is, you know, unsatisfactory. It hurt a lot. Whatever the words are, you have to think that through. But I wouldn't get too mushy, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. I'd just be a little bit more like, because you got to think, these people publicly insulted you, essentially. And that's how they need to be treated. And that's how I would treat them in the meeting. I would certainly not be mean, but I would not be all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah. That makes sense. And that's kind of like the tone that I want to set.
Great word, tone. That's it.
They're older than you, right? I mean, I'm just assuming.
Yeah, everybody is.
Everybody's older than me.
I'll tell you, I mean, so we started this business when I was 23 years old. So I'm talking to majority 40, 60-year-old people, and especially being a female in fitness, you are not looked at like authority. So I've had to always establish authority with every single person, even just from the consult. You know, people would look me up and down, and then all of a sudden I start talking and they realize, oh, wow, she does have something in between her head. Like, cool. But be honest with you, like, short and sweet, listen. That's the very, very first thing. Take notes if you need to, just so that they see, okay, he does care. You can probably already hypothesize what they're going to say. Talk, like, almost role play it with your wife tonight, and then put it to bed. Like, tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and you're going to go in. You'll probably be a little jazzed because they did insult you, like Eric said, but then say, hey, you know, I want you to voice to me what you've put out there publicly, and let them talk. They're females. They'll feel really good if you just let them go. And then I would just say, you know, I hear, and then you've got to come back with, these are my values. This is my mission. This is what I'm doing. I have to make tough decisions every single day. It's not fun to sit in my shoes some days. They don't own a business. They go to a comfy job that they probably hate. And they almost look at you envious. You're 20, you know, you're in your 20s. You're running a very successful company. So in a sense, a lot of people are probably even jealous, like, how's this kid doing it type of thing? Because people still like question, how are Aaron and Tony really successful? Like, and you're just like, okay, well, whatever, but you're willing to put the hard work in. But cut them off to when it's appropriate. If the conversation goes wrong, let them know, I appreciate your time, and just say, hey, if you want to finish this next month out, you're more than welcome. But honestly, I'll even can your next payment so that you can move on, and just let it at that.
Yeah. And just frame it, just like Aaron said, just frame it so that it is a mutually beneficial move, right? That it's in the best interest of them and in the best interest of you. And that's, you know, kind of the way to frame it. Aaron, you are so smart. How old are you now?
What's that?
How old are you now?
What am I? I'm 34.
So, and you started when you was 20, what, 3?
20, yeah, so wait, 24 then. I was 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so well said, Aaron. I just made a note. That's going to be called out on this video when I put it up. And Adrian, I suggest before you do go into this thing tomorrow that you listen again to what Aaron just said on the replay, because that was absolutely perfect. The way she nailed that. Everything, even the language was perfect. The thing about I have to make tough decisions every day, that's perfect stuff. I mean, yeah, right on, Aaron. Thank you very much. That was outstanding.
It's only because, honestly, we've been through these situations too many times, unfortunately. I mean, I just had to have a 6:30 a.m. discussion with a lady on why we charge $351 for one-on-one training instead of $207 for group training. She was coming off of injury and needed to renew. We were giving her one-on-one because she was in group. And I mean, this was like this asinine conversation that I'm like, holy crap, I haven't had to have one of these conversations, but I felt my heart get going. I got pissed. You know, I wanted to get defensive, and, you know, it's female against female. Plus I'd had a pre-workout, so I was already like, somebody's dead off. But, you know, it's just, I had to like tell myself, Aaron, shut up first. Like, listen to her, because she went on. What I learned from her, though, was she's spending money on Pilates, the gym, a swimming coach, a gym membership. I'm like, this is your problem, not my problem. But
yeah,
so it's interesting. Let women just talk.
And that's huge. Yeah. It's let them, they'll talk themselves out. If you let them, you know, they'll get all that stuff out, and they'll end up being like, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why I was mad at you in the beginning, Adrian.
You're probably going to get some hugs.
He just had a wig on and the hair.
And I'm not being sexist, you know, it's just women are different, and you guys are more emotional. There's no doubt about it. And often need the best way is through talk to get that emotion out. So, yeah. And anyway, that was just great stuff. So on that note, we're going to wrap things up. Unless Aaron Lindauer, you have something else you wanted to talk about.
No, I want Adrian to make sure he books a fun dinner at least. I mean, seriously, dude.
I believe you. I get it. I can do that. Well, I will do that. Not I can, but I will.
Yeah, like Camelia would like make us pull up our calendar and block the freaking time.
Yeah. Yeah, treat that woman like a queen, Adrian. You won't go wrong. And I'll tell you somebody you can model. He's right above you on my screen, and that's Aaron Crocker. It's amazing the way Aaron puts Melody on a pedestal, deservedly so. Treats her like a queen, and it's inspiring. So he's the guy to watch.
That's my point.
Yeah, that's obvious. All right, guys and ladies, thank you all very much. Appreciate your time today, as always, and we will have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Aaron, you killed it.